stock market weekly update, weekly recap, guys. Here it is, and I hope you are excited for a week that was, well, let's not talk about this week, okay? Nothing too exciting going on. I'm going to real quick. First, we're going to go over how the indices did. Then I'm going to do a recap of my portfolio if you want to take a look at that. See how we did on the week. Then I'm going to get into some news. So let's go ahead, get right started here with the Dow Jones Industrial Average here. On the 5-day, up 1.79 actually. That's right. I said up. That's green. And that green really comes from a really good performance Wednesday. Gotta love it. And a good bounce back Monday. I mean, Monday there was bounce back like no other. And then Thursday, Friday really kind of hit us very hard. I mean, shoot, Monday we were up some 4%, was it? It was a nice day, I'll tell you that. And then guess what? It's all back down. So hate to see it. Year to date right now for the Dow, down 9.37. You don't like seeing that. For the S&P 500, still sitting under the 3,000, which you hate to see. On the 5-day, up 0.61. Good. We'd like to see green regardless. You know, it's not fantastic for us, but up 0.61 we'll take. Year to date, down 8%. Nothing crazy there. Nothing crazy with those numbers. A little better than what the Dow's performing, I guess. Not on the week, but just for the year at least. The NASDAQ, though, up 0.1. Up 0.1 for the week. So, really relatively flat week for it. And again, Thursday, Friday is what killed us. No doubt about it. Year to date, only down 4.42 on the NASDAQ. So, definitely something to consider there. Not too crazy. So, now I think it's time to take a look at the portfolio. What are we doing on the week? I'm down 1.64 this week, so nothing too exciting. Obviously, we were looking for a better performance. We have been on this portfolio at least a little bit overperforming what the market's done. A little bit. So you see the NASDAQ down 9.92, the Dow's down 11.13 on the month, and the S&P is down 10.68 on the month. I'm down 10.66, so really I'm kind of following the S&P 500 here as far as performance is concerned over the last month. So nothing too crazy, but I'm outperforming the Dow, right? Does that mean something for me? Oh, I'm so sorry. Not too many major additions to the portfolio. I have bought in some more stock, no doubt. But if you want me to recap that, I can do that at a separate time and just look at some of the stocks I've added. No new positions, just a couple more purchases. But that's the portfolio for you, 1 week. So year to date now, really not looking great for us. So starting as of January, once we opened up, we were enjoying a nice we were right around 16,300. Right now, down about $1,000 since then. So year to date, pretty rough. A good 7% down year to date. So again, just saying, better than the Dow and the S&P 500 year to date. So eat that, buddy. What's the news we got to talk about today? Well, actually, we had a stellar jobs growth actually coming here in February. So February non-farm payroll up 273,000 versus 177,000 consensus and 273,000 previous. So very good job growth actually. Unemployment rate fell to 3.5 versus the 3.6 consensus and 3.6 prior. So again, unemployment rate went down. You gotta love it, and that's crazy. With more people getting involved in the workforce, you just like seeing that number. It's really good. Average hourly earnings increased by 3% over the past 12 months. That's quite a bit. Average work week rose by 0.1 hours to 34.4 hours for the average work week. So a lot of full-time workers out there for sure. Other than that, obviously we had there's a lot of discussion here. We have an election coming up, there's no doubt about it. So I think it's important to discuss the potential for some of these Democratic candidates that are going to be potentially running in the general election. So we had Super Tuesday, and really the big winner off of that would be Mr. Joe Biden. So Joe Biden pulled off a big shocker of a success with Super Tuesday. Really just rocked it out. Surprising. I mean, everyone thought Bernie was the front runner by far. And then Joe Biden comes in Super Tuesday and just sweeps up all the delegates, and to a point where he's the front runner by a good margin. So it looks like most likely Joe Biden will be ending up, depending on what happens, but he looks like for the most part there's a good chance that Joe Biden ends up winning the primary here, and he'll be going to the general. This is a pretty important step because I think there's many things to consider. So Bernie, very anti-establishment. Bernie Sanders, anti-establishment, anti-stock market, anti-everything. Come on now, guys. He's anti just life. But the market will not like a primary in which Bernie Sanders wins. I hate to say it, but there's a lot of red coming in the market if Bernie Sanders wins the primary. Now, I don't believe he stands a chance in a general election because he just doesn't fit in with the majority of the population. I mean, there's no way 50% plus are okay with going for socialism. It's just not really a thing that will happen. So that's why I think Joe Biden got a lot of these delegates, because really the general populace knows that Bernie Sanders doesn't really stand a chance in a general election. So I think that's where Joe Biden's popularity really comes from, even though the guy definitely might have some dementia. Regardless, I'm glad I no longer have to see Michael Bloomberg ads. I hope you are too. I mean, by seeing I just lost my mind. By seeing Michael Bloomberg ads, I meant just having them stuck in my brain, because literally he placed ads in my brain. He put chips in people and was placing ads in people's brain. That's how much money he spent on a campaign in which he sucks. But now obviously everyone's pulled their campaigns, no doubt, besides Bernie and Joe, and they've all pretty much pledged to Joe Biden. They're supporting him now because, again, he's pretty much the only one that stands a chance in the general against a Donald. And I think it's best that Joe Biden wins the primary, just because of the fact that the markets won't like if Bernie does. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely we got to keep an eye on this because, election years are pretty big for the market. Could depend a lot on what things look like in the future. From a news perspective too, we have Needham, who cuts revenue and EPS estimate for Facebook. Says that I can't say that word. Sorry, I can't say that word on here. So that there's going to be an issue due to this outbreak. It's going to impact the largest ads market. So what I need to talk to this guy is, all right, hear me out. This is one of the dumbest. That's why we don't trust analysts, okay? Sorry, Laura Martin, but you are very stupid. I don't know why you're cutting estimates, because this is something that just doesn't make sense for me. People are going to spend a lot more time online than they are now in physical retail stores. This is only going to suit to benefit Facebook. There's going to be more time on their platform. There's going to be more time spent, obviously, shopping online. Facebook's just really going to find a way to succeed through this. It's not a physical company that's really going to feel the hurt from this. It's just not. I don't know what in the world they're talking about here, but Laura Martin, I think you're confusing. I don't know what you're talking about. But regardless, we'll pass on to that. We have hotel REITs breaking up after the White House. Economic advisor Larry Kudlow says the administration may provide some aid to hospitality sector, though he's not specific in what form. So this could be monetary form or whatever it could be, but it could be some aid brought to the REIT hospitality sector, including which hospitality is hotels, stuff like that. So something to look at there. We have Nvidia acquiring SwiftStack. SwiftStack's platform supports public cloud on-premises and edge deployments. Recent launches focus on AI and high-performance computing. Nvidia's among SwiftStack's list of customers, which includes PayPal, Snapfish, and Verizon. So SwiftStack, definitely I think a good acquisition for them. It's obviously an undisclosed amount, but I think it's a good acquisition for Nvidia. Could be big for them. If we talk about SwiftStack, it's a very future-oriented company, as I like to coin the term future-oriented company. I mean, that's my term. I deserve the credit for that. They're very just in tune with what the future will hold in terms of that. Get out of here. And finally, we have Google getting sued by, they do it quite a bit, but getting sued for a bait and switch minority hiring suit here, where a former employee says that he was hired on to be a operations manager, told his responsibilities, and then later turned that he was assigned to a tech support job instead. So this is a lawsuit suggesting that Google is doing this only to minority job seekers. They're overpromising what the job is and then giving them a lesser job. That's obviously, this isn't going to go anywhere. This is one of the most BS claims of all time. For one, obviously these big tech companies are very much interested in hiring more minorities. They want a more diverse workplace because, well, it's a thing that shareholders don't really care about, but the society we live in does care about it more. They want a lot more diverse of a workplace. So this stuff matters to people, but as an investor, I don't really care. I always say no to that stuff when it comes up in the shareholder meetings, but just wasted money and time looking for extra candidates instead of just hiring people. But to each their own. This guy's lawsuit's going nowhere probably because I don't see that being something. I don't see it being viable. I don't think there's going to be anything done here, but who knows? Google might settle for him. But regardless, just some Google news. You got to love it. Hope you enjoyed this. This is your weekly recap. Let's go.